So this is the Zoomobile. So we'll be showing you some animals in and around the zoo, and giving you a little bit of facts about them and ways that you can help ensure their survival. So on the right-hand side, we're coming up on the Himalayan tahr. We have 3 in our care. We have 3 males, Kirk, Carter, and Sue. Yes, Johnny Cashman, who already has a boy named Sue. They are a species of mountain goat, and they excrete a smelly, sticky substance from their feet. My brother does something very similar, but the cars is far more useful. They use it to grip the steep mountain slopes of their home. It also acts like a wayfinder for them. If they get lost, they can smell their way back to their family and friends. And the fences around their habitat are so high that they have a 6-foot vertical jump, and we really don't want them taking a ride on the Zoomobile again. Their neighbors here also on the right-hand side of the greater one-horned rhinos. We have 2 in our care. We have Vishnu and Kieran. Kieran is the one that is in this habitat here. He's just out down the back there. And he looks, his skin looks really tough, but it's actually quite soft and sensitive like ours. So you'll often see him in his wallow, which is a giant mud puddle in the habitat there. And he'll coat himself in a layer of mud to protect his skin from the sun and from bug bites. And we are now going over the Indomalaya Bridge. There is a 50-foot drop from here to the Valley of Fort below. If you're afraid of heights, close your eyes. Here's our driver is. On the right-hand side, here as we come off the bridge, we have the newest habitat here at the Toronto Zoo, the new outdoor orangutan habitat. We're hoping to have this open in the spring, and the orangutans are going to have a really cool enrichment item in there. They're going to have a button that they can push to spray guests with water. So if you come out, the splash pad is a little too full, you can always come over. You can always come out here and hope that a orangutan can try button for you. And we're passing by the almost hillside giraffe family. We have 4 in our care. We have Daddy Central, Montessori, and there's come on and Matt Tiny. Now look at they do have access, so they may be inside. It is a little chilly for them. That's okay. You can always see 3 and 4 in the giraffe house. Giraffes can reach heights of about 18 feet tall, but they have the same amount of vertebrae in their necks as we do, and that number is 7. On the left-hand side, we're passing by a beautiful view of the Rouge Valley Urban National Park. It is the largest and oldest of its kind in North America. It's about 20 times larger than Central Park in New York City, and we make up 710 acres of this park. That makes us the largest zoo in Canada, the 3rd largest in North America, and the 5th largest in the world. On the right-hand side, we're passing by Serengeti Beach Camp. It is an overnight stay here at Toronto Zoo. You can go to sleep to the wolves howling for their dinner, wake up the lions roaring for breakfast. Don't worry, you're not on the menu. There are a whole bunch of fun behind-the-scenes activities included in this. Registration is open on our website, torontozoo.com. So I did mention that we are part of the Rouge Valley, so we have teamed up with Canada to help one of the native species of this valley, the Planing turtle. And so we started the Planing turtle reintroduction program in 2010. When it was discovered, there were only about 10 adult Planing turtles left in the Rouge. So what we do is we bring eggs from non-viable nests, we bring them here to the zoo. The turtles hatch, and then we raise them until they're about 2 years old. They're about the size of a potato, and then we re-release them back into the Rouge Valley watershed. Since the start of the program, we have released somewhere between 500 and 800 turtles back into the Rouge. And now we're coming up to my least favorite part, my ex's house. And they're my ex because they're a cheetah. Now this is the back of their habitat, so they might be a little hard to see. But you can always get off at our second station stop, which is our African stop. It's a short walk back from there. Cheetahs are the fastest land animal on Earth. They clock in at speeds of about 110 kilometers an hour. But they're not the fastest animal in the entire world. That record does belong to a Canadian animal, the peregrine falcon. They're capable of diving at speeds of 390 kilometers when diving for prey. You can find peregrine falcons in downtown Toronto, where they make use of the skyscrapers for hunting and for nesting. speaking of Canadian animals, we are coming up to our first station, stop, the Canadian Domain. In the Canadian Domain, you can find animals such as the grizzly bear, shinty, the wood bison, our Baltimore bears, and everyone's favorite, if you are exiting here, we ask that you wait for the vehicle to come to a full and complete stop and exit on the right-hand side. Depart the Canadian Domain stop, and our next station stop will be Africa.
We all did that. Yeah, we did.
And as we make this turn, we are entering the Africa section of the Toronto Zoo. And when we get up to the top of the hill, we will see our first animal. So I'm going to start chatting about him right now. You may recognize him from his starring role in The Lion King for reasons I will not mention. Just know that it will forever be too soon, and you may already know what I'm talking about. We have one in our pair. We have Ben, which is short for Benedict. He'll be coming up on the right-hand side in a sec. Just once we get around the bend there. They lead the largest land migration in Africa, from the Masai Mara to the Mara River. And they do this because they have the unique ability to smell water, so they will follow the rainstorms. And they lead about 2 million other animals in this great migration for fresh food and water. So he might be towards the one end of his habitat, or just on in. Oh, no, there he is. He's coming up. He's coming up right there. And so as we go around, you might be able to get a good look at the side of him. He's got these dark stripes running down the side of his body. He's not part zebra. They're not a fashion statement or anything. They are there for a defense mechanism, and they make him appear thinner than he is, in the hope that any predators would go after a much larger meal. We are now coming up to the Africa station stop. In Africa, you can find the most amount of animals for the least amount of walking. Animals such as the white lions, the white rhinos, the hippos, the lemurs, the African gorilla troop, the African penguins, the wapsusi, the baboons, the cheetahs, the hyenas, so many more. If you are exiting here, we ask that you do exit on the right-hand side, and the right-hand side only when the vehicle comes to the driver. At the front is Alex. Just a couple of rules as we get going. There's no eating, drinking, standing, smoking, swimming, or flying while on board. And we ask that you please keep all arms, legs, hooves and horns, wings and tails, and children inside the vehicle at all times. And we are all clear. So our next station stop will be Tundra, but before we get there, if you look on the right-hand side, we'll be passing by one more African savanna animal. There will be the Watusi cattle, and Watusi is what you get. They are. We have two females in our care. We have Marge and Maggie. Marge will be the darker brown of the two females, and they're just the ones that habitat. They are a species of longhorn cattle native to sub-Saharan Africa. So those big horns on their heads, they look really heavy. They're actually made out of a honeycomb-like structure of blood vessels, and it acts like their own air conditioning system. So on a hot day, they'll pump the warm blood from their bodies up into the horns, where it gets cooled off by the air around them, and then the blood comes back down into the body to cool off the rest of the animal. Many other animals have very similar adaptations. Squirrels, for example, use their tails in much the same way on a hot summer day. As we go around this corner, if you look on the right-hand side of the trees, you might catch a glimpse of the old monorail station. The monorail has not been used since 1993. Some of us aboard may remember that was the last time our Blue Jays won the World Series. I'm sorry to remind you all of that. But we now use that station to house browse, which is an alternative food source for the animals in the winter months. It's made up of flowers, twigs, and leaves, that kind of thing, and it's left to ferment, and it becomes what we call silage. And herbivores absolutely love eating it in the winter months. Many of the other animals also use it as an enrichment item, so birds and many of the other pavilions will use it for nesting material. The big white pole there, that is a Tundra Air zipline ride. There's a couple of great solos riding it right now. It is a two-seater zipline that'll send you soaring over the Arctic wolves and the polar bear families. It's just a short walk from our next station stop if you would like to check that out. Oh, now coming into the Mayan temple ruins, this is home to the Lupa, the jaguar. Now, he may or may not be out. He's a little bit of an old man, and he only comes out when the weather's absolutely perfect. So Luca is 18 years old, which is pretty old for a jaguar. Most jaguars only get to be about 10 years old or so. And but in his heyday, he would have been a triple threat hunter. This is because jaguars can hunt on land, in trees, and in the water. So we're also passing by the home of the caribou. Caribou are known as reindeer in many places of the world, but they don't really caribou, which name we call them. We are the only deer species in which both males and females grow antlers. The males drop their antlers in about October or November, while the females keep them over winter and don't drop them until spring. So this means that all of Santa's reindeer are women. Talk about girl power. They are also the only mammal species that can see in ultraviolet light. And we're now passing by the administration complex. This is home to about 250 full-time new employees. This includes the nutrition department that are responsible for feeding all 4,000 of the animals in our care. And we rack up a grocery bill of approximately $1.5 million every year. And we help supplement this cost through a variety of different ways, such as memberships and parking passes, as well as tickets aboard the Zoomobile. So if you have any of those items on you, give yourselves a pat on the back. Thank you so much for your contribution to our system. And we are now approaching our Tundra Trek station stop. And we will, once we get past the stop sign to the head. In the Tundra Trek, you can find animals such as the polar bears, the Arctic caribou. It's also a short walk to the Americas Pavilion, home of RJ, the North American river otter, and another short walk to the Australasian Pavilion, home of our dragons. That's right, we have Hilot, the Komodo dragon, and we also have Yam, Potato, and Squash, our bearded dragons. If you are exiting here, please wait for the vehicle to come to a full and complete stop and exit on the right-hand side and the right-hand side only. And we hope you enjoy the rest of the commentator. I'm at the back of the vehicle. Our driver up at the front is Alex. Just a couple of rules before we get going. There's no eating, drinking, standing, smoking, swimming, or flying while on board. And we ask that you please keep all arms, legs, wings, horns, hooves, and children inside the vehicle at all times. And we are all clear. So as we were sitting here, you may have been able to peek over on the left-hand side, take a look at the greenhouse. Greenhouse is run by our amazing horticulture department here at the Toronto Zoo. The horticulture department is responsible for all of the plants that you see on site, and our zoo is arranged biogeographically. So instead of having a cat house or a reptile house, we have different geographical locations. And not only are the animal species in those areas native to that part of the world, but the plant species are as well. Over on the right-hand side, we're passing by we're passing by Shady Acres, the retirement home for the Mongolian wild horses. We have two who live in there. We have Phoenix and Alexandria. Sometimes the younger horses do go in there too. It's kind of like visiting grandma and grandpa for a few weeks, where they learn how to be proper, well-behaved horses for the drive-through. If you didn't get a chance to see Phoenix and Alexandria, that's okay. There will be some more horses in a little bit in the route, and I'll chat about them in a little bit more detail when we get there. But first, we need to play a game of hide and seek with the next animal. We are passing by the home of the lion-tailed macaques. They are the masters of hide and seek here at the Toronto Zoo. They're a small black monkey with a tuft of fur at the end of their tails that makes their tail look like a lion. That's where they get their name, the lion-tailed macaques. They are native to the West Mountains in southwestern India. They are the small species of macaques. They have a special pouch in their mouth, similar to a chipmunk. They shove food into it whenever they're feeling scared or threatened. I do the exact same thing whenever Alex tries to take my pizza. On the left-hand side areas, a fan favorite of the Zoomobile. He loves us. We love him. This is Cedric the Waddle Crane. He's going to duck down into the gully there. I needed everyone to remain seated, though. I know it's kind of excited, but he will come back up in a second. So he's a wattled crane, and he gets his name wattled crane not because of the way that he walks. It's actually from the two flaps of skin that are underneath his chin. Those are called quills. And they're a really good indicator as to how Cedric is feeling. If he were feeling anxious or grumpy, they'd be tucked up tight under his chin. But he's having a good day, so they're hanging loose. And he loves seeing us come by, and he'll follow us until we go around the corner and he can't see us anymore. If he looks familiar to anybody who's seen the Panda series of movies. He is Master Crane. And we're just about to enter what I like to call the Jurassic Park section of the zoo. Minus the dinosaurs, so I couldn't provide on that. But we will be entering habitat, and there will be no barriers between us and the animals. So I do need to ask everyone again, do keep all arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. And also hang on to any belongings should you drop anything in here. You're not permitted to exit the vehicle and attempt to retrieve it yourself. Even your driver and I aren't allowed to exit the vehicle in here. If you do drop anything, simply raise your hand. I will raise mine, and we will wave your items goodbye together. This also goes for any children who happen to accidentally come along the side of the Zoomobile, but don't worry, we will keep them fed and watered, and they will become the next generation of Zoomobile drivers and commentators. I got my job. On the right, left-hand side, sorry, as we're going through these gates here, it's the rest of the Mongolian wild horse first. And these horses are quite a miraculous conservation sixth sense story. And in a way, I feel like these guys should actually be the mascot to our mission statement of protecting wild animals and conservation science to fight extinction. Because we literally did save this species from the brink. In the late 1960s, there were, I think the number was 17 of these horses that were left in the entire world, and they could only be found in zoos and sanctuaries. And we're all clear. So functionally, they were extinct in the wild. But thanks to conservation efforts in many zoos throughout Europe, as well as here at the Toronto Zoo, their numbers now around the 2000s, and herds have been re-released into the wild. They grew the Gobi Desert in Mongolia, where they're native to, as well as the Chernobyl exclusion zone in Ukraine. So coming both sides of the Zoomobile, they're going to make my job a little bit difficult. I think we have the two species in here. Yeah, they're difficult. So we have the West Caucasian Terror, which are the little mountain goat species there, and then the domesticated him. I'll chat about the fur first. So in here, we have a bachelor group. And so it's a group of 4 males. We have females, some breeding males, and kids in the Eurasia walkthrough section as well. There are species of mountain goat native to the western Caucasus Mountains in Georgia and southwestern Russia. And the horns on their heads, those big horns, they will grow directly out of their skulls, so they fall off. And the one with the largest horns is often the more dominant in the group. And for the domesticated Himalayan yaks, they are known as beasts of burden because they can carry loads of 300 pounds up steep mountain slopes. We have an all-female herd in here, so every night is ladies' night. And when these ladies give birth, they produce milk. It looks a little bit like strawberry milk, but don't be fooled. Our driver, Alex, he tried some in his coffee this morning. He yacked. And their fur is continuously growing, and it'll grow so long that it'll cover their feet in the winter, and they use it for traction on up steep mountain slopes. And for any Star Wars fans on board, the original Chewbacca costume was made out of Himalayan yak. We are going to end the drive-through in just a moment. We'll be going over some bumps. We went over them when we first came in. They're called cattle grates. They don't harm the animals in any way. They just deter them from trying to enter and exit the same way we do. All of the animals in here are animals, which means they essentially walk on their tiptoes. So they take a look at the cattle grates, they go, that's not too comfy, I'm just going to walk away. And then they turn around. Yeah. But I do need to wait for this gate to close behind me, so you will be subjected to some more animal-based humor. Sorry, not sorry. Does anybody know what happened to Willie the duck? He flew upside down and quacked up. Why do ducks have tail feathers? To cover their butt quack. And what did the fish say to the curious salamander? Throw up there. You asked a lot of questions. And over on the left-hand side, we have as many animals as the Toronto Maple Leafs have won Stanley Cups since 1967. Maybe one day, it hurts, that hurts me right down to the core, but maybe one day, I'm forever hopeful. I'm forever hopeful. And we are now coming up to the Eurasia Wild Station stop. In the Eurasia Wilds, you can find animals such as the red pandas, the Bactrian camels, the Steller sea eagles, the snow leopard, the Amur tigers, and so many more. If you are exiting here, we ask that you please wait for the vehicle to come to a full and complete stop and exit on the right-hand side and the right-hand side only. And we are all clear. So as we depart the station, our driver's going to pull over to the left-hand side where we might catch a glimpse of the alpacas. We have two in our care. We have Reggie and Gerald. They listen out with their friend Sterling, the miniature donkey. They're part of our outreach and discovery animals, so you may see them out and about on site from time to time. If you don't be shy, do go up and say hello. They might, oh, there they are. So there's Reggie and Gerald, and Sterling, they're all there. We just ask that you don't pet them, but the alpacas are super nice. Reggie, he was my first friend when I came to work here at the Toronto Zoo. On my very first day, he came up to me and he said, "Hey Jen, do you want to go on a picnic? I'll pack a lunch." It was the best picnic I ever had. We've been best friends ever since. On the right-hand side, we're coming up to the Amur tiger habitat. We are expanding it, which is really, really exciting. We have two in our care. We have our male Vasily and our female Mazaria. Amur tigers were once known as the Siberian tiger, but their numbers have declined so much that they're now only found along the Amur River in Russia, and they're now extinct in Siberia. So their numbers have, their name has changed to better reflect their shrinking habitat range. They are part of our species survival program, which is a way that we can ensure that we can keep the numbers of animals around the world in good enough supply. So that if anything, were to happen actually to the animals in the wild, we can start reintroduction programs. Which is super important, especially to an animal such as the Amur tigers, as there's only about 400 of them left in the world. And we're now coming up to a wild human crossing. Wild humans are the rarest species down here at the Toronto Zoo. They tend to travel in groups. They keep their children close at hand. They're usually quite a reasonable species, but first thing in the morning, before they've had their morning coffee, they can be kind of grumpy. And we're now entering the core woods. Geographically, this is the center of the Toronto Zoo, and it makes up about 100 acres of our zoo, so it's our little 100-acre wood. And we let this forest do as it does naturally. So you may have noticed the trees that have fallen over. We don't move them. That way their nutrients can be reabsorbed back into the soil as they decompose and promotes further plant growth. There are also many native Toronto area animals that call these woods home, such as squirrels, chipmunks, raccoons, skunks, foxes, possums, frogs, salamanders, turtles. I have seen white-tailed deer in here. I have also seen some wild turkeys on occasion. And in just a moment, we will be pulling into our main station at the front of the zoo. If you would like to stay on and do another loop around, you are more than welcome to do so. But if you are exiting here, we ask that you exit on the left-hand side and the left-hand side only. The right-hand side is a fire hazard. If you get off on the right-hand side, I will be fired. I like my dog, so please don't do it. If you enjoyed the ride and the commentary, my name is Jen, our driver's name is Alex. If you didn't, then my name is Alex and our driver's name is Jen. Once again, if you are exiting here, we ask that you exit on the left-hand side, only, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day here.